Ready? Okay. Welcome everyone to today's Central Pine Barrens Commission meeting. If you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Stafford.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you and welcome to today's Central Pine Barrens Commission meeting of February 15th. We have couple items on the agenda. We'll first start with the administrative and public comment. So we'd like to open the public comment period. Is there anybody who'd like to address us at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes. Everyone should have received the minutes from the January 18th meeting. Entertain any motions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
A motion from Supervisor Romaine to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Stafford. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. On to item number 2A, draft resolution to purchase near map vertical aerial imagery. If we have a motion or we have a resolution on that.
Make a motion, move the draft resolution.
A motion by legislator, legislator. A long time ago, Supervisor Romaine.
Good job.
That's a great job. From Supervisor Romaine to approve the resolution as drafted.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Stafford. Anybody on the issue? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? It is approved. Okay, item 3A, Planning and Land Use and Pine Barrens Credit Program, supplemental final generic environmental impact statement for the comprehensive land use plan amendment status. Ms. Hargrave?
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. We have a brief presentation, only 10 slides to present to you today. And the item is on to publish the notice of vote, and to seek your authorization for that if you are inclined to, that is expected to occur in April. Okay, so just okay. So we are at the stage of the final generic environmental impact statement for the plan amendments. And it's not. It's on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. Excuse me. So we have circulated to the Commission last month on January 31st the final document, which includes the responses to comments from the draft document and the public hearing that occurred last year. And we've prepared responses to those. So we were looking for your feedback on those responses. And also the current final drafts of the 3 chapters for the review procedures and jurisdiction, Chapter 5, standards and guidelines for land use, and Chapter 6, the Pine Barrens Credit Program. So we're looking for your comments on any of that material by March 1st. If you can let us know if you have comments. We've received some, and just trying to get some clarification on how things are applied and some corrections. And then we'll be prepared to move ahead with the notice of completion. We plan in March 15th. So, right. Oh, sorry, this is not working. Can you just advance the slide, please, Angie? Okay, so just to recall the goals and objectives of the Act, these 5 main items to preserve and protect and enhance the functional integrity of the Pine Barrens ecosystem, protect the quality of surface and groundwater, discourage piecemeal and scattered development, and promote active and passive recreational activities and uses, and accommodate development in a manner consistent with the long-term integrity of the Pine Barrens. So again, the act requires, or it says that the commission can review and, if appropriate, make amendments to the land use plan and the generic environmental impact statement. So again, to summarize some of the milestones, this process started in 2010. There was a final scoping document for the EIS in 2016, and the document, the draft supplemental draft generic environmental impact statement, has been prepared by the staff. And last year there was a public hearing, and we are trying again to finalize this document and complete the secret process and have schedule a vote on these amendments very soon. So the final EIS again includes a summary of the EIS and the changes that were made. There were edits made really just to abbreviate some of the language. It was kind of lengthy in some areas, unnecessarily lengthy, and with preserving the intent that the commission had for all of the standards and all of the changes that were made to the chapters. There was just a final edit with no substantive changes to what the commission intended. And the final chapters are in the document that you have, and the responses to comments again. So just to remind you, the chapter changes to chapter 4. There are new terms, the project site, which is always one of the first things that is identified when a project is received, an application. Self-heal restoration, this is an activity that will be required if a site is overcleared, say a parking lot, and the commission receives the property as open space. That open space needs to be restored. That's what the commission was intending to do, and that can occur through a self-heal restoration or through some active planting. And there's also a definition for tall structures over 75 feet. The tall structures standard applies to projects that are not subject to municipal review. So this is when a project comes directly to the commission, say a utility project, and there's a structure over 75 feet, that would require a hardship. If it's less than 75 feet, it would not require hardship. There were changes to the development and regional significance definitions to combine the types of residential projects, single family and multifamily, since over the years there have been many projects that have combined those types of residential units, and also to define mixed use projects when there's obviously commercial, residential components in one project, and projects that expose the groundwater table, and the traffic impact threshold was removed when the commission prepared the amendments. And there are ministerial changes to the chapters that are minor edits, just to add a word that would clarify that definition or standard or in the review procedures. So in chapter 5, the plan amendments include, again, clearing restrictions that have always been in the plan, and the complement of that, the open space requirement, minimum open space requirements for all project sites. Again, the self-heal restoration and invasive species management for sites that are overdeveloped or overcleared. There will be a restoration requirement component, a plan to restore that area if it is being provided as open space for that development project. And there is a priority list of applying the principles of conservation design when open space is designed for a project. It says you have to first protect wetlands, any regulated habitats or species, and then move on to other areas of priority, woodlands, or and continue down the list of steep slopes. And so there's some little more of expanded discussion on that when open space is being planned on a development project. The bird protection standard that applies to the maximum extent practicable. So it is strongly encouraged that projects include ways to protect from bird strikes and with large expansive surfaces of glass, say on buildings, but it is to the maximum extent. So there is some flexibility there. There are other codes in the country, even New York City and Minnesota, that have implemented this into their zoning codes. So this is definitely a trend that's occurring to minimize those bird strikes. The light pollution and dark skies protection, most of the town codes have this already. So this applies only to projects not subject to local review. This is when the commission is reviewing a project directly. That again is not subject to local review, and there may be a gap in that kind of in that compliance with those guidelines. The tall structures, again, over 75 feet, that applies to projects not subject to local review. And then you'll have seen in Chapter 5 a more expanded outline of different situations when a project is split zoned, a project site, or there is a non-contiguous cluster. Those are practices the commission has applied in past projects, but that wasn't specifically explained in the plan in the past. And then Chapter 6 includes ministerial amendments to improve the credit program review procedures and the process to issue credits and resolving violations if there are any prior to issuing credits, and that credits can't be returned, and improving the process times of credit appeals. So again, we have gone through the seeker analysis. There are no significant environmental impacts in this process that were identified. These are all clarifications really that have originated in the act or the plan, and they seek to implement the goals and objectives of the act and support compact, efficient, and orderly development in the compatible growth area while preserving the character of the Pine Barrens. So again, we're looking for your comments. If you can get them to us in the next couple of weeks by March 1st, or let us know if you need more time, and we will definitely provide any additional meetings or explanations of this process, especially for those who haven't been involved in this multi-year process. So that's all I have. And the action item is really to get your authorization to publish the notice of vote today.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hargrave. Somebody have any questions? Nope. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize the publication of the notice to vote. Do I have that right, Mr.? Seconded by Supervisor Romaine. Anybody on the issue?
I just want to
Go ahead,
thank
Sharon, yeah.
Julie and the team here for all they did for this plan to be at this point. And it was a tremendous amount of work. So I just want to recognize that and thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item number B, core preservation area, Holy Trinity Lutheran Church core hardship waiver application. Sargent?
Thank you. We're seeking your authorization to send this letter to the pastor for this project. There's presently a core hardship proposed, but last month the consent order was executed for an incident that occurred on the site, and it did include the retention of this parking lot that was overflow parking area that was created if the parking lot was not paved, but it allowed it to remain, and also it could be a gravel surface. So this letter explains what's allowed to go ahead, and landscaping that's not typically on its own development, at least let's just keep it to this case, but landscaping and the formalization of this parking lot, those were items that were considered. And so we have a letter back to the applicant on this. And we would need to also include in this letter that they need to withdraw their application so that there is no application looming out there or pending that hasn't been acted on. And the applicant is completely aware of this, and they are fine with going ahead with this way.
Make a motion to send the draft letter.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Romaine to send the letter as drafted. Seconded by Mr. Stafford. Anybody on the issue? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, on to item number C, referral 711 Shirley 14.
I'm sorry, Chair, I think there's two motions, right?
Oh, to withdraw, well, I could include it in the letter to withdraw it, so if
So we
they just
should have-
approve the letter, it's up to you.
We should have the practice of the commission is to have a motion to accept the withdrawal.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to accept the withdrawal for Holy Trinity Church, Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, located in Middle Island.
okay,
Thank you.
so we have that motion to accept the withdrawal, seconded by Mr. Stafford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay,
Thank you, John.
thank you. Thank you, John. Make sure we get it right. Okay,
Consistently wrong.
on to item number C, referral 711 Shirley 1481 William Floyd Parkway. Ms. Hargrave?
We're looking for authorization to send this letter. This is a referral from the town of Brookhaven, a zone change and redevelopment with a gas station, this convenience store, excuse me. And we're looking for your authorization to send this letter.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to send the draft letter.
Thank you.
Motion by Supervisor Romaine to send the letter as drafted, seconded by Mr. Stafford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
What are you gonna do when we convert to electric? All these gas stations.
Become charging stations.
And then move to green hydrogen. It's another thing for another story.
It is. Okay, item number D, PSE&G, Long Island, Eastport, County Road 51 at County Road 111. Ms. Hargrave?
We're looking for your authorization to send the letter in the package. This is a project where there is a reconfiguration of the utility line on the east side of County Road, County Road 51, and a portion is going underground under the County Road 111 overpass. So this expresses that the project is non-development. The changing of poles in this location and the area of underground transmission in the right-of-way. And one main point that is stated in this letter is that they have said that no trees will be removed, and if that changes, they'll have to come back to the commission.
Make a motion to send the draft letter.
I'll second. Here we have a motion from Supervisor Romaine, seconded by Mr. Stafford, to send a letter as drafted. All those in favor? Opposed?
I just will comment that the town of Brookhaven is extremely unhappy with these poles and went to the Supreme Court to remove some of them. We wish we could have removed all of them.
Thank you, Supervisor. Okay, item number E, PSE&G Long Island, Suffolk Air Substation at County Road 31 line work. Ms. Hargrave?
Similarly, there's a draft letter in the package. We're looking for your authorization to send it. It says this is non-development, again, so long as no trees are removed, as they explained in their letter. There's some poles that are being replaced, existing wood poles being replaced with wood poles that will be up to 5 feet taller. And
Make
this
a
is-
motion to send the draft response.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, seconded by Mr. Stafford, to send the letter as drafted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Okay, it's not quite 3 o'clock, so
But what we could do is have a closed advisory session for half an hour
we can.
and then come back at 3 o'clock, which probably is a better use of our time.
So I'm going to take that as a motion by Supervisor Romaine to go into closed advisory session until 3 o'clock, at which time we'll have a public hearing.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Dow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, okay. It is approved. We are going to be going into closed advisory session for a few items. Mr. Milazzo, do you need to put that on the record of why?
For a closed advisory session, it's to receive counsel. It's also an executive session because there are some litigation matters, and enforcement
To
matters.
discuss litigation
Yeah, and enforcement and to.
and
receive rights.
enforcement, okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
sufficient.
so with that, we are going into advisory session. We will reopen at 3 o'clock for the public hearing. Whatever works easier for everyone.
I'd rather clear everyone out.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the back room rather than make you all leave, and we'll be back in about a half hour.
We're done, thank you. Yep. All right, so in March, they're all here now. So we can go off the record. So, so we're 1 day short of the April meeting. So the April meeting is when? And the decision deadline is 17th? Okay. Will we get a day extension?
Absolutely.
Okay, so can we just have a resolution accepting a 1 day extension to April 19th for this matter?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
We have
That's
a
all.
motion from Mr. Shea,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Stafford. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And we still have one item to
The
discuss.
motion carries.
Motion carries, I'm sorry. We have
Okay.
one other item.
We have one more item. Mr. Milazzo, you wanna?
So the other item is, no, we're done. Are you good?
We're good.
Okay, great. All right, so the last item is, the matter of Wildflower, which is an application that was approved to DRS in the town of Brookhaven along the north side of the expressway between exits 67 and 66 and 67, 66 and 65.
66 and 65.
So Wildflower was a DRS, and they had an approval to build 500,000+ square feet of buildings. They had a requirement to give a conservation easement to the commission on several acres of the site. The easement was recorded. As part of the approval, there were areas of the site that were not to be cleared. They were on a map. Commission staff has been going to the site over time, and also other members of the commission have viewed the site. And there appears to have been clearing, not appears, there has been clearing along the north service road's northerly boundary. So
The southern
southerly
parcel,
boundary of the site.
southern part of the
Yeah,
parcel.
southern part of the property. So this property that was cleared is on the site, and it was an area that was to be protected by conservation easement and was not to be disturbed. The clearing consisted of around 95 trees were removed from the property. There was, prior to the clearing or contemporaneously with the clearing, was installation of some LiPo power line poles and also some LiPo power lines to feed the site. The applicant was made aware of the clearing. The applicant disclaims any responsibility and is unaware of who did the clearing or what entity did it. PSE&G was contacted. They admitted to clearing 5 or 6 trees in the area. They had permission to do some trimming coincident with the installation of the poles. That leaves a gap of an unknown person or entity caused the clearing of, say, 90 to 95 trees, if all of the people are telling us the truth. So it doesn't much matter because this is a violation, right? So the site is owned by Wildflower. They have the responsibility to control their site. The clearing occurred while they owned it, and clearing occurred in an area that was not to be cleared. This is a matter that should be result in a notice of violation. And Wildflower has been in close contact with the commission, and I recognize their cooperation in trying to bring this to a resolution. They have, as I noted, they said we didn't do it, but we want to make this right. And they have offered, as in response, to replant on a 3-to-1 basis trees along the northerly side of the north service road, the southerly side of the site, to sort of block the view into the site if this was done by an actor affiliated with Wildflower, guys don't yell, to increase the visibility into the site, so that way you'd have that green corridor along the expressway. They've also agreed and offered to not clear all of the area that is scheduled for land bank parking and for clearing. They're preserving 3,500 square feet of an area that is to be cleared
he's been granted approval to be cleared for land bank parking. So that's sort of a 6-to-1 mitigation on the amount that was cleared on the service road. So with that, they are under intense time constraints, which, that's not really the commission's issue, but the commission has always been trying to work with applicants to the extent we can. So the recommendation from staff is to issue a notice of violation on this matter, and also to accept remediation in the form of a consent order outlined as I described, which is give us an easement on the amend or give a new easement on the 3,500 square feet on the north side of the property, which is adjacent to an easement already. So that makes sense, that's guaranteed to be protected, and do that remediation along the southerly side at a time, because that can be done today or tomorrow, in the near future. And that would be the basis of a consent order to resolve this violation. And given the time constraints that the applicant claims and has asserted to us that are affecting this operation, authorize Judy as the executive director to execute a consent order that match those minimum requirements. So that's the history of the matter to be discussed. And I think I fairly summarized it. If there's something I missed, Judy, just let me know.
Mr. Shea has
And
his
then
hand
Mr.
up
Shea,
behind you,
those
who I'm
terms are
assuming is
acceptable to
counsel
you.
for the entity.
So
One question, because I believe there was maybe I just listened incorrectly. There was 30 trees taken down, and we had discussed replanting 100 trees along the front.
There was 95, I think.
95 trees.
95 trees.
95.
Survey you provided. We have a copy of it.
Okay.
I think he's talking
You want 300 trees now? Because I thought it was 100 trees when you said it.
That's up to, typically the commission requires a 3-to-1 on remediation, so each tree gets a 3 because not all of them will grow back. They can be smaller, obviously smaller trees in the area. So the applicant is protesting or questioning that requirement. I defer to the commission. Marty, you're sort of the expert in this. What would, not to put you on the spot, if you don't want to be on the spot, say, I don't know.
For negotiations.
I don't want to negotiate too much on this, but if the commission's will is 3-to-1, it's 300 trees. Tim, if it's not, it could be something less.
Generally, our policy is to adhere to a 3-to-1 requirement in terms of restoration. The question I have is whether or not there's sufficient area to plant that number of trees. We want to make sure the trees are spaced properly. So perhaps Ms. Hargrave could be helpful in this regard as to whether or not it would be more reasonable to require a 2-to-1 ratio of planted trees as compared to the number of trees that were cut. I have not been to the site. We want to make sure that those trees are sufficiently spaced so that way they will be healthy and not compete with each other. There are obviously the stumps that are in the ground. Those stumps need to be removed. The soils will need to be amended as well. So it's just somewhat unclear to me as to how much area we're dealing with. Do we know the number of linear feet in terms of the easement, Carter?
Yeah, there's on the road, almost the whole road frontage. Yeah, it's on the survey. Maybe we could have the surveyor identify the area that can be planted, the space that's available left, or the trees that were cut and where there are gaps.
Could we just try to add a 2-to-1, between a 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 ratio, based upon the staff to determine what is appropriate for the viability of the plantings?
So I'll make a resolution based on what was discussed, allowing the number of trees to be resolved by the staff and then report it back to the commission.
No less than 200.
No less than a 2-to-1,
Right.
but not to exceed a 3-to-1 based on staff's recommendation. Does that sound fair, everyone?
And the granting of the easement on north and the protection of that 3,500 square feet.
Yes.
And authorize Judy to sign it, and recognizing that the planting won't occur before the clearing of the land bank parking, which is okay.
Right.
So they would have a consent order, so that if they didn't follow through, they would be, they'd have a violation of consent order.
Okay, I'll so amend and make that the full resolve.
Okay, so we have that motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's carried.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Raymond to adjourn, second by Mr. Stafford.
Good luck with your
All in
meeting.
favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
No. It's gonna be interesting.
Theologist.
Yep.
I was thinking,